So the other day, probably about 2 or 3 weeks at the time that I am recording this video, Ethan Klein, the creator of H3H3 Productions, made a video where he recounted his few experiences with police officers, and it bothered me quite a bit. And the reason why it bothered me quite a bit is because it was a clear and obvious attempt at virtue signaling, him trying to show solidarity with Black Lives Matter. Now, I'm not really a big fan of virtue signaling for lots of different reasons, but for some reason this Black Lives Matter cycle has garnered a lot of virtue signaling, some ridiculously stupid. For example, there's this whole Blackout Tuesday thing that had occurred on, I believe, Instagram, where a bunch of mostly ladies decided to post images of giant black squares as to black themselves out to make sure that they didn't distract people with their normal Instagram feed or normal Instagram selfies, and trying to make sure that only the voices that matter apparently got attention. They didn't want to distract people and, in their words, take up space. Of course, this is hilariously ironic considering the fact that posting up a bunch of giant black squares does nothing but take up a bunch of space. Shoot, the virtue signaling has gotten so bad that even op.gg, which is just a League of Legends website to show your ranking, even these guys are like posting up Black Lives Matter, as if it's even relevant to me just checking my ranking in a video game, you know.
And I got away, and I walked away thinking, man, cops are really thoughtful, nice. I've had great experience with the police. But now I find myself wondering, if the color of my skin was different, how would those two situations have played out? I mean, especially the second one where I had a bong and weed in my trunk and I took 5 minutes. I was on the freeway and I pulled off and I drove into a fast food parking lot. But that probably looked really shady to the cop.
So basically, I believe he's trying to communicate that he believes that if he was of minority status, that all of those encounters would probably have gone for the worse for him. Now, his stories are, if I can remember correctly, if not, you guys need to go watch his video. One time when he was a teenager, he was cruising down on Main Street, I guess, and a cop was coming up, and then he was drinking underage, so he like poured it out and just tossed it, and the cop was like, "Hey, don't do that," and then he just let him go. And then the second time, he was cruising down on Main Street. No, I'm just kidding. He's on the freeway. A cop tries to pull him over. He is terrified because he has a huge bong and some weed in his car. The cop pulls him over. Is like, "Hey, what happened? Why didn't you, pull over when I asked you to?" And Ethan replies that he's a new driver. He didn't really know, standard operating procedures of being pulled over. And the cop was like, "All right, well, just chill out and let him go." And the thing is, he says he comes to these conclusions, or like he at the rest of his video, with the exception of the ending, is him kind of going over police brutality cases or popular police brutality cases involving black men that died. And one of the biggest issues I kind of always have with Black Lives Matter is the fact that they always rally behind probably some of like the worst black people, like the people who honestly always had trouble with the law to begin with. Shoot, even George Floyd actually had trouble with the law prior to. Now, of course, this isn't saying that his execution in the middle of the street was warranted. I know I'm being facetious, but like seriously, I'm not saying that like he should have been. That should have happened to George Floyd, because that was ridiculous. That was just really something in clown world with that one. But what I am saying is that a lot of the times it's like these high profile cases that get a lot of media attention are always usually with some black male that has a huge criminal history and like is clearly antagonizing the police. Because in this video, and this is quite the preamble, but I'm just going to explain my experiences with the police. So we're going to be here for a little bit of time, right? So as you guys can see, I'm black. So let's rewind the clock all the way back to when I was 16, right? And I was in this program called early college. And the college campus that I had all my classes at was like a mile and a half away from the high school that I was originally in. It was like dual enrollment. So you're in college and in high school, at the same time. And so what I would do is I'd go on the bus, hang out with my friends, and walked 1.5 mile up to college campus, do my classes, walk back to you know, the high school again. So my friends were accompanying me this time. And this trek, I had people with me, and we were going through the neighborhood because of the way the neighborhood is set up. It kind of is like, I'm gonna have to use mathematical terms, but it's kind of like it creates like a little bit of a hypotenuse between the normal walking down on the street that I did was a mile and a half, and it just kind of made it quicker. So we're walking through the neighborhood in between the high school and the college, and we get stopped by the police. We get stopped by 2 officers, right? Now this is my group. My group is composed of me, another tall black kid, one of my closest friends actually at the time, a young black lady, a little shorty, and my other friend. He was mixed, another one of my best good friends at the time. But he's mixed, half black, half white. And they stop us, right? Now, I'm cool as a cucumber, man. I'm like, I have no idea why these officers are bothering us. They probably think that we're skipping. We're just gonna explain the situation to them, and everything's gonna be kosher. Okay, that's my thought process. So the officer in question was a tall black lady actually, and kind of a short, was a Hispanic guy. And they come up to us, right? And I had my hands up at first. I was like, it's all cool. I was like, guys, just chill. And they're coming up to us, right? And so they get about a bit of a pace. I wouldn't say a pace. They get about, I'd say about a good 7 feet away from me. And I reach down and I'm like, it's cool, officers. Like, we're just high school kids. And I pull out and I put my hand in my pocket. And the officers reach for their guns. And I was like, guys, it's cool. I just pulled out my wallet. I just pulled out my wallet. I was like, guys, it's cool. I was trying to get my ID so I can just show them and explain the situation. It's like, it's cool. But it was kind of funny, like their reaction. I was at no point, even when they reached for their guns, I had to stop myself from laughing. I was hilariously arrogant in this moment. I know that. But like, I knew I didn't do anything wrong. I knew my friend, we didn't do anything wrong. So I was just like, we're just going to explain the situation to them. We're going to show them our IDs. Everything's going to be cool. And that's exactly what happened. That's how it played out. I explained the situation. My friends, chimed in. 2 boys, we chimed in. Our young lady friend, she was a little shaken up by the experience. Me, I was cool because I knew I was right. I knew it was cool. I showed her my IDs and I talked to her. So actually what had happened was there was actually a break-in in the house, in one of the houses in the neighborhood. And the police were going around, trying to find the culprit. And the descriptions were like they were a couple of teenagers. So I was like, oh, well, that would make sense that you would stop us. However, we have an alibi. Our classes are at X time. We just got done with them. So, I mean, you can, if you really want to go through it, you can verify that we were there with the attendance and all that. And we have our IDs and come on, So the cops, they just let us go. They said, all right, well, if you see anything, give us a call. Say, okay. And that was it. And that was that. That was my first experience with the police. Now, here's my second one. My second one's a little bit of a funny one. I think it's funny. I think it's a little bit of a doozy. I think this might be one of the few times in my life I feel like being a Negro may have negatively affected me. And you'll see as this story goes on, okay? So, I'm going to fast forward the clock. About prom time. My old friend of mine, he started going to a different school. He wanted to hang out. I was like, yeah, that's cool. We go to the mall. We hang out. Everything is cool. He has to leave, though. I'm stuck at the mall. I don't have a car at the time. I'm waiting for my older sister to come pick me up and take me home because we're all done, right? My older sister was somewhere else. I don't even know. I don't really know where. Even to this day, I don't know what store she was at. She wasn't in the mall. It was a different location altogether. Excuse me. Looking for a prom dress. And I was calling her a couple of times trying to get her to come take me home because I was stuck at the mall. And then again, this was like before Lyft and Uber and all that. And even then I didn't have any money. I didn't have any credit card or anything. So like I'm stuck and I'm waiting there. I was waiting there for like hours, like maybe 3.5 hours. I was there for a while. I'm just waiting. I'm just walking back and forth in the mall. And at one point, I recognized that I lost my cell phone. Now, this was bad because I'm like, oh, if my sister is calling me and I don't have my cell phone, how am I supposed to communicate with her to leave? Like, this is bad. Like, losing the actual cell phone itself wasn't too bad because I had a spare phone I could just transfer over. But, like, at that present moment in time, it's like, woo, like, I was like, oh no, this is bad. So I'm going around, I'm looking. So I was in Books A Million. I'm looking in Books A Million. I can't find it. I go up to a lady at the cash register and I ask her, did you see like a black cell phone or anything like that? She's like, no, not today. So it's like, oh, shoot, okay. So I'm looking around, I'm an aisle, and I'm seeking it out. And so then, ironically, I find someone else's black cell phone on the ground, right? So it's right next to this small white woman, right? So I pick up the cell phone, I look at it, and I say, excuse me, is this yours? And the white woman is like, and I'm like, yo, chill. Like, is this cell phone yours? Is this your cell phone? And she's like, and I'm like, bruh, like, you think I'm gonna hurt you in Books A Million? Like, what? Maybe in Foot Locker, you should be scared. You know what I mean? Like, you think I'm gonna hurt you in Books A Million? Like, come on, you know? Like, your overreaction was getting to me. And so I was like, you know, man, whatever. I go back up to lady, the cash register, and I say, hey, this is ironic. I found someone else's cell phone. And she's like, oh, man, that is kind of funny. She takes it, puts it in a little drawer in the cash register or whatever, right? And I'm looking around. I can't find it. I've been all up around the mall. I was so stupid. I actually walked through the mall back to tracing my path, walked outside of the perimeter of the mall, and then walked all the way back around in the Books A Million. Now you're probably wondering, Sarah, why did you go all the way around when you could just just cut right through the Books A Million and just go back through the mall? And I'm like, honestly, man, I don't know, nigga. I was just walking around. Like, I walked around in circles. I could have literally just paced right back through the mall, but instead I walked outside and looked around there, and then I walked all the way back around through the mall back to Books A Million. Or I could have just walked through the front entrance when I was on the outside. I don't know. I was just trying to find my cell phone. So as it turns out, in the back of Books A Million, there's a help desk, and I walked over there. I don't know how I just did not notice this the numerous times I trekked through here because I was a dumbass. And I go up to the guy and I say, hey, did anyone like turn in a black cell phone? And he pulls it out, and it's mine. And I'm like, yatta. Thank you, sir. Now, I continue my journey through the mall after checking my messages to find I have no messages because my sister still hasn't contacted me, so I'm still stuck in this mall. I'm walking through, and a thought occurs to me at this moment. I think to myself, you know, it would really suck if, like, the police stopped me right now, you know, because I'm pretty sure I look weird, like, going back and forth through the mall for the last few hours. So I think to myself, you know, it would really suck if the police stopped me right now, because then I have to explain to them that I'm just stuck in the mall. And I'm walking, and then all of a sudden I hear, hey, boy, stop right there. And I'm like, I already know. I already know it was me, because to be honest with you, I was the only nigga in the vicinity. No, I'm kidding. I knew it was me because, like I said, I knew I looked suspicious, like going around back and forth, like all day. So I thought that's what they were going to try to talk to me about. So I turn around, and it's two guys from the Clay County Sheriff Office. So their uniforms are like green or something, right? So there's this tall white guy, there's this short Hispanic guy, right? Or maybe he's Hispanic, I don't know. He kind of looked a little bit like that. Maybe he's Italian, I don't really know. He comes up, and he goes and he says, hey, you, did you find a cell phone in Books A Million? And I say, well, yes, I did, yeah. And he said, oh, you did? Oh, okay. So what'd you do with the cell phone? I turned the cell phone into the front desk. Oh, you did? He turned this. Okay. Okay. Why don't you come with us then? We'll go to Books A Million, and we'll see if you turn that cell phone back in. So I'm like, I have to go back? I just came from there. So we're going back. So I'm walking through the mall now with this I'm talking about this guy's tall. He's taller than I am now. He's like 6'4", tall white guy. This little short, Italian Mexican guy. I don't even know. And we're walking through the mall, and I remember thinking to myself, man, when we get to this Books A Million, I was like, when we get to this Books A Million, I was like, ooh, he's gonna feel so freaking stupid. And I felt triumphant because I already knew what was gonna happen. So we make it back to Books A Million, and we go back to the lady at the front cash register. Now at this point, me and this woman, we're friends, man. We have communicated with each other numerous times. We have a connection. And she sees me coming and she's like, is everything alright? And the police officer goes, yeah, I just need to know, is this guy turning a black cell phone to you? And she goes, yes. And so then all of a sudden, I kid you not, just out of absolutely nowhere, this black lady comes out of nowhere. And she grabs the phone and she looks at it and she's like, yes, this is my phone. Thank you. Thank you. She finds it. And then she just walks away. And now I'm sitting here looking at the police officer like, and he was flabbergasted. He was like, he turned the cell phone in. So then what happens is the mall cop comes, and then another even taller police officer for all of no reason comes, and there's these 4 officers sitting around here literally saying to each other, wait, so he turned the cell phone in? Yeah, he turned the cell phone in. Like you turned the cell phone in. Yes, I turned the cell phone in. He turned the cell phone in. They were all aghast, just confused at the fact that I just turned the cell phone in. And so then the guy was like, all right, well, you got an ID or anything on you? I showed him my ID, and he said, you're not a murderer, are you? And I was like, yes, nigga. Yes, I'm a killer, okay? I'm a vampire. I sparkle in the... What the kind of answer you want me... Like it was a bad joke. I don't even know why he even asked me that. I was like, no. And he gives me my ID, and I put it in my wallet. And then they leave. And that's the end of that. They were... Now, to be honest, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm pretty sure what they were all trying to communicate there was, wow, this nigger actually turned the cell phone in. No, probably not. But, like, seriously, like, they were so confused at the fact that I had just turned the cell phone in. I just thought it was funny. I was pretty sure that the only reason they had some confusion was because I was a Negro. Because I don't see why else they'd be confused that somebody would just turn a freaking cell phone in when, rather than steal it. I don't know. And so now, this brings us to the 3rd time I had an encounter with the police officer. I was driving to my friend's house, and it was probably around 8 o'clock, I think, at night. Maybe it was like 9 o'clock, I think, actually. It's kind of late. It was pretty late. At least it was getting there at the very least. It was dark. And I'm driving. Excuse me. And then I see the sirens, the red and the blue behind me in my rear view. And I'm like, is that for me? So I just pulled over because I didn't even know. I mean, I was the only person on the road, so I assumed it had to be for me. I pulled over, and I turned the car off. I put my hands on the steering wheel. And the officer comes to the door. And the problem was, I turned the car off, so like I couldn't roll the window down. So I had to open the door to her, right? And it was a woman. She's actually a pretty attractive woman. This is a woman. And she says, did you know that your headlights weren't on? And I was like, oh, no. I actually, no, I didn't even think about that. And she was like, yeah. That was it. I just wanted to make sure you knew, the headlights were on and whatnot. And I was like, oh, well, thank you. I'll be sure to make sure I, keep track of that. Because this is when I just started, first started driving, Just like, yeah. And you have like your license, whatnot? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I give her my license. She looks at it. She goes back to her car. I guess she runs it. She comes back up to me. She says, here you go. That's it. And I say, okay, thank you. And then we leave. And those are the stories of my encounters with the police officer. Now, with police officers, what's the point? Now, I would look like a plumb straight fool to sit here and try to spread some dumbass narrative that police officers in general, all of them, are awful, terrible people or racist people, like the nonsense Ethan here tries to sprinkle. Maybe he's not trying to say all police, but he's trying to sprinkle in this idea, this negative image of police officers that's just not grounded in authenticity. Because while it's true that some officers are going to overreact and do crappy, heinous things because some people are evil, we just have to accept that about the world, I'm black. And I cannot tell you a time I had a negative experience with a police officer apart from them incredulously believing the fact that I turned in a cell phone. That is the worst experience I had. Now, here's the thing. I am also, like, I'll be honest, I'm righteous. Like, the only law I really break is, like, piracy. Like, I watch movies when I probably shouldn't on the internet. Like, that's it. Like, that's mostly what I do. And, you know, is it wrong, is it right? I don't know. But, like, I'm not a violent criminal, okay? I don't have a criminal history. I don't have any of that stuff. And so I'm just never really all that terrified of police officers. Not until recently. Recently, I've been very wary of police officers. Because I'm pretty sure that they'd be wary of me, and we're all just going to be wary of each other, and I'm just all like, I just rather just going to follow the letter of the law and just not encounter these situations with you guys and just avoid them. Because as it turns out, I'm going to be honest with you guys, if you do the right thing, if you don't break the law, you're probably not going to have very many problems with the police. You're just not. As evidence, I am a Negro, and each time I encountered a police officer, I was doing the right thing. Well, I mean, with the headlight. I mean, it was just headlights. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't. I didn't bring a crime. Maybe it is a crime, and I just don't know about it. But like, that was it. That was the most of it. Now, Ethan, on the other hand, had just reason to be like. Ethan was actually breaking the law each time he got stopped by the police. That's why he was scared because he was doing the wrong thing and he knew he was doing the wrong thing. But to have some idea that the only reason, or to have any like fear or paranoia that the only reason that the police let you go, apart from the fact that maybe they just didn't want to do the paperwork, maybe they just didn't think it was worth it, maybe they just didn't think that you were bad, maybe they just it had to be because they were racist, or they just couldn't believe a white person could do something wrong, or they're just gonna let you go because you're white. Like, no, they're not. Because as it turns out, police officers are just people, and some of them are going to be evil. They are. There's going to be corruption. And some of them are just going to tell you that your headlights aren't on. You know what I mean? So then I get this, and I hear Ethan say this right here. This is after he explains a couple of high-profile police brutality cases.
Out that young black children get a talking to from their parents like the birds and the bees, but about the police. They teach their kids that the police are dangerous and you have to be overly respectful and overly cautious when dealing with the police because they're dangerous. That's a talking to that all black children get, I learned.
And I sat here and I was like, you know, I never had this conversation with my parents at all. I never had them explain the best way to operate or deal with a police officer. Pretty sure I just kind of figured it out on my own, that when someone has the ability to kidnap you and put you in an iron cage or potentially shoot you, it may be wise to try to de-escalate the situation and talk to them calmly and rationally. And it's just, you know, I mean, when a person can do that, maybe it just might make sense. Maybe, I don't know if you really need to be educated too much on the idea that you probably should just be polite. Well, first of all, you probably should just be polite to people in general anyway. But I mean, you probably should especially be polite to an individual who can do that. And unless they're being ornery, unless they're being threatening, the police officer. This is where like another video I made comes in. Like, if a police officer is actually harming you, like actually is trying to attack you. But the long and short of it is, most of the time, if a police officer is using that much force, you probably are doing something to some degree. Like, you probably. I haven't seen very many cases at all, really, which isn't to say they don't exist, but I haven't seen very many cases of a police officer stopping somebody because they didn't have their headlights on, and then like the police officer pulls out their gun and then they arrest that guy or shoot him. Because again, officers are people. And so this video that Ethan made is solely exists, and it's unfortunate that it got so much attention. Like, it solely exists for him to virtue signal, for him to say, hey, look at me, I'm a white person, and I get it. He's like, I'm a white person, and I stand with solidarity, and I'm with you guys. I'm with you, Negroes. I encountered the police, and they were perfectly cool, but not for you. No, nigga, that's not true. I'm a Negro. I'm black, African American. I encountered the police, and they just let me go. Why? Because I was doing the right thing. I had no reason to be scared of them, because I was always doing the right thing. If you're doing the right thing for the most part, I'm going to be honest with you, you're probably not going to have an issue with the police officer. Legitimately. If you understand where you're allowed to be and where you're not allowed to be, you're probably never going to have a problem with a police officer. Probably. It may happen. Bad things happen sometimes. Can't say 100%. But it's not because you're white that the police let you go. I'm not white. I was just doing the right thing. And so then another thing that just kind of really, was this nonsense here. Like, it's my honest and firm belief that charities only exist so rich people can, like, throw money at them so they can say, hey, look at me, I'm actually cool. It's like, come on. Like, why do you think throwing money at any problem is just going to solve? Oh, well, police killed another bad guy. Oh, I'm sorry, they killed another black guy. Throw money at a charity and that'll fix everything. Like, no, like, it's stupid. That's dumb. You want to fix something? How about we get the police better training? How about you throw your money into that, Ethan? Instead of giving your money, just throw thousands of dollars away into nothing. How about you put it into long physical training for police officers? Why don't you lobby for tighter or stronger guidelines for allowing an officer mental and emotional health checkups for them? Give them onboard psychologists or therapists to make sure that they can decompress and deal with the stress of going out. No, see, because that treats officers like they're human beings who can think critically and, like, change and be different. Like people are, like, pretend that officers don't get burned out. They pretend that officers aren't dealing with negative issues. Like, they pretend that officers aren't human beings. Like, they're not robots, bro. Like, you guys take RoboCop too seriously on this one. Like, it's not black and white. Like, there's more to it than that. And I just can't stand this bullshit. Like, when rich people, they're just like, hey, I'm gonna give money to a charity. Okay, how about this, Ethan? You want to talk about how Black Lives Matter? I'm gonna be that guy. Fam. So, Ethan, you've got a whole podcast. You get millions of views. Let me ask you a question, fam. You probably won't watch this video, but let's be real. Let me ask you a question, dude. Where's your 10-minute video on how young black women shouldn't be getting abortions? Oh, I guess black lives don't matter when they don't want them. Okay. I just didn't know. I just didn't know. If a black woman decides to, did you know, like, in 2018, there's actually more abortions in New York. There's more abortions than there were live births of young black children. But they're not black children. They're black fetuses. And they don't count. Like, they don't matter. Like, if the mom decides to kill them, that's fine. If an officer decides to kill them, well, that's wrong. You can't, no. If a woman says you don't get to live, that's okay. That's her right. If an officer overreacts to you because you were attacking them and you tried to take their gun away, that's wrong. Okay. I'm just trying to make sure I get it, Ethan. I'm just trying to make sure, because that's what it happened with Eric Gardner, by the way. I'm just trying to make, It wasn't Eric Gardner. No. Well, who was that other guy? Maybe it was. It was one case where the guy literally charged the officer and tried to take his gun from him, and he got shot and killed. And Black Lives Matter rallied for him. But they didn't rally for all these young, I guess babies don't count. Fetuses don't count. Fetuses don't count. We don't try to stop black women. Okay. How about this, Ethan? Like, where's your podcast on the amount of black fathers missing in the homes of their children? Where's your podcast where you encourage women to select better mates and have better men who will be there and raise those children well with honor and integrity? Where's that podcast? See, like, when you actually have the influence to, like, talk to people and speak to people, the best thing that you decide to do is throw money at a charity so you look good, and then have some nonsense, silly stories where the police let you go when you were younger, and then try to pretend that means that police are okay with white people doing the wrong thing, but not okay with black people not doing the wrong thing, or police, like, are overly critical of black people, when that's just not even true. It would have to be an individual police, because here's the thing: if you're gonna discount my experiences with the police officers, right, that's just some one-off thing of just me being a Negro experiencing police officers. If I'm just one-off thing, I'm just my anecdotal thing. You gotta do the same exact thing for Ethan too, and throw that bullshit right out the water as well. Like, right, just throw it off as well, because it's not baked in truth. It's not baked in reality. If you really want to talk about how Black Lives Matter, let's talk about the culture of black people. Why is it that the most popular way of being ascribed as a man for young black men is being a thug, is being really hard, being very abrasive, sagging, gangster music, getting into gangs, being violent? Why is that the preferred state of black masculinity? Let's talk about it. Black Lives Matter, then how about we talk about that? I'm just wondering. I'm just asking, Ethan. You want to throw money at a problem? Okay, how about you start throwing money at probably trying to make podcasts where you talk about how black culture is not anything. It's nothing about it is baked in integrity. Nothing about it is baked in good storytelling. The most popular music is all about sex, drugs, and all that. It's not about being uprighteous. It's not about being good. It's not about being just a regular, okay individual. It's all fluff and nonsense. Let's talk about that, Ethan. You get 2 million people to watch this dumbass video where you try to paint some idea that you only got away from these officers because you were white passing, I guess. I don't even know what your racial ethnicity is. You try to tell us, now how about you actually use your influence and you use that money to actually better the lives of black people instead of pretending that it's some police problem that's hurting them? Because I'll tell you, here's the God honest truth. The biggest danger that black people have, guess what, are other black people in that area that want to take their stuff and kill them. The biggest danger single mothers have are picking terrible, abusive men to father their children. Drug dealers, gangsters, thugs. But we can't talk about that one. No, you're bitter, nice guy, you're bitter. Yeah, you're damn right. I'm bitter. And the amount of like young black children that don't have their dads in their lives. Yes, I am incredibly bitter. You are correct. I am bitter, and I'm even more bitter. And again, Ethan can say and do so much shit. And the best thing he decides to do with this in this time period is to just go the middle road. Not even go the middle road. Just go on the full Black Lives Matter train without any critical thought, any critical analysis, without actually thinking about the issue, and just saying, "Oh, hey, look at me, guys. The police are only okay with me because I was like, no, that's not what happened, dude. They probably just thought it was petty, and they just let you go. They didn't know you were doing anything. Well, the guy who caught you drinking did. But the other guy who pulled you over probably just thought that you were just some young kid speeding a little bit too much. That's probably what really happened. You know? But it just kind of frustrates me. Like, seeing virtue signaling drives me up the wall. Seeing this happen. And I just kind of wanted to put these stories out here. I don't know if a lot of people will get anything out of this video, but I did want to put these stories out here just so people, like, know and understand that, like, again, I'm not condoning evil. I've never condoned evil on my channel. This is your first time watching the video I've made. I don't condone evil. I say the only way to defeat evil is with good. So don't misunderstand me at all. If you misunderstand this point, you're a dumbass. I'm just going to say it straight up. I'm not saying all police officers are good people. What I am saying is police officers are people. They are humans. Some of them are going to do the right thing. Some of them are going to do the wrong thing. You punish the ones who do the wrong thing, but you don't get mad at all of them because you're going to be hurting the police officers who do the right thing, who are okay, who are just human beings trying to do their job. You have to defeat evil with good instead of trying to paint this broad stroke that police officers are racist and they're just okay with white people, but they're going to hurt black people. As an individual who has encountered officers numerous times and they haven't hurt me, I'm still here. I'm not a ghost. I'm not Danny Phantom. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that officers are just these awful human beings who are just going to go around and beat black men. It's just not, that's not right. And it's not fair. And it's stupid to try to push some idea like that anywhere. Evil people exist. And you beat evil with good. So how about you use the platform you have, Ethan, to start preaching about being a good person. Well, preach is too bad of a word. Alright, you can't say preach because then that sounds religious. How about you actually do something, Ethan, with the ability to gain people to look at you and watch you instead of throwing money at charities like that's going to fix anything. It's bullshit. With that being said, I just hope you guys got something out of today's video. You probably didn't, but if you did, man, go and click the like button. And shoot, go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comments below. As always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.